Welcome to Climbing Together, the Small Business Experience. I'm Beth Houtrow, the founder of Climb the Small Business Book Club, and our episode today is brought to us by the Renaissance Entrepreneurship Center of the San Francisco Bay Area. Every episode, I talk to a small business owner about a mistake that they've made and what they learned from the experience. Mistakes are inevitable, perfection's impossible, so let's embrace the mistake. And today we're so excited to welcome Dara M. Wilson to the podcast. Dara, tell us a little bit more about yourself and your business.
Hello. Yeah, I am Dara. I am an artist, a coach, and a marketer. My business is called Makeda Made. And I help overworked women and femmes reconnect with themselves through art, coaching, and art experiences. My flagship offer is a transformational intake / coaching session that leads to a beautiful piece of wall art that memorializes whatever breakthrough you have during that session.
Yeah. And you guys, you have to go check out. We'll post all the links and tags for Dara's Instagram and website, but you have to see the art to really understand what you're talking about. It's so beautiful. It's so amazing. So I'm excited to share it with the world. Thanks. Alrighty. So this is a podcast about mistakes. So let's jump right into it. Tell us about a mistake that you made, or maybe it's a misunderstanding or something when you were launching your business.
Oh, yeah. Oh, gosh, Beth, when you first were like, choose a mistake, I was like, just one? Like, which one?
Yeah.
But this one I thought was good. I made a mistake in choosing a web developer. I used the website Fiverr. And I went through, I'm going to be hosting my website, the new version of my website on Shopify.
Okay.
And you know what they say, the price is too good to be true. It probably is, like it's that way for a reason.
Yeah.
And they have like a toggle or a drop down or whatever for like just choose people in my area. Because I was trying to choose someone who was working in America. But people have ways around that. And I found out that the person that I was working with that I had chosen was not in America. And we were having problems with, so I sent over the designs and he was like, oh, I can't see the designs. And I was like, okay, I don't understand. I was clicking the links and I was opening them. I was like, I see them. They're here. The designer can see them. I was sending them to friends, like double checking. I was like, everybody can see them. I don't know what you mean. We were having this weird, like, who's on first, back and forth kind of thing. And eventually I was like, okay, I'm just going to cut my losses. Like, no, I can't overcome this obvious language barrier. Like, forget it. We're going to cancel it. And then he was like, oh, it's too late to cancel. We've done half the work already. How did you do half the work if you couldn't open anything? So like, I have no idea what was going on in all of this confusing conversation.
Oh my goodness.
But he turned over what they had already done. It was not great, obviously. Just very shoddy work. And he'd also set the currency of the store to rupees because it turns out they were in India and not in, I think, Kansas is
where they said they were.
To be from, yeah. So I got locked out of Shopify because they were like, oh, you haven't paid for your store, your free trial is over, and you need to pay. And I was like, okay, let me pay. And they were like, oh, you can't use that card. You need to pay something that you can pay rupees. And I was like, I don't have one of those. And they're like, oh, you need to change your currency to USD if you want to use that card. But how do you change your currency? Is by getting access to the store, which I lost access to because I couldn't pay. So I spent, I am not lying, like at least 4 hours with customer service over text and on the phone, getting back into the store. And it's still only 3/4 fixed. Like, I have one credit card that I can use. that like can overcome this issue, but the other ones are like, this seems fraudulent and weird. I'm not doing it.
Yes. Oh no.
So,
I
yeah.
actually once knew someone who was in Pakistan and was a developer, and they asked me to be their American front. And I was like, oh, like that's how they do it, right? They get someone in America to be the business owner. So yeah, it's important. Yeah, important to know that.
Yeah, you got to know where that stuff is coming from. If he had just simply set the currency to USD, it would have avoided so much of that headache. But if you're looking for like, oh, what's the lesson to take from here? And don't do what Dara did. Obviously, having a conversation with someone, like not just paying attention to what's on the description of on their page of their offering, you have to have a conversation first, because I would have been able to suss this out, I think, like with
like a Zoom call or something, you would have known, right? Yeah,
exactly.
This person is not in Kansas.
Exactly. Or even just like literally just like 5 lines of dialogue back and forth over text, I would have been able to tell like, this is not a Kansian? I'm not sure. But they would have known. Yeah. That's how I would have known. Yes. But also just like, it's so important to be sure, because the cascading impacts of the bad decisions and risks are so much. And like, in terms of money, in terms of time, all of it. I'm still paying for this one mistake that was, I just wanted to get this started and didn't take the time to do my due diligence. Yeah. And I'm still in the process of fixing that mistake. Yeah. Yeah. And it's one of those things that when you're a small business owner, inevitably something like this is probably going to happen, right? Whether you get a bad CPA, or you get like, even when you vet, sometimes it's not always perfect. Were you able to like ask for a portfolio or anything? Did you see any of their other work? Or I had, they had stuff up of their other work, and I was like, I felt like I had vetted, but I just hadn't done the last step, which is talking to them and also showing them my design before saying like I needed to say like, can you actually do this? I felt like the design was pretty straightforward, because I also know how to build websites. Right. Yeah. But apparently not. So that's also something that I learned. Yeah. Like, I mean, so important, but in some ways you can't beat yourself up about it too much, because it's a lesson learned, right? Yeah. Exactly. Battle through it. Nice. Exactly. Okay. So thank you so much for sharing that information about the mistake. Beyond that, is there any other tips or ideas that you would like to share with an entrepreneur who's just getting started? Yeah. One of the things that's been really on my mind that I've really been trying to embody lately is acting as if. That I think a lot of times as business owners, we set goals for our business, but we don't set goals for who we want to be as leaders of our business. So I've been thinking a lot about like, who do I want to be as a business owner? How do I want to be treated as a business owner? And then not waiting until I think I have the business that makes me deserve to be treated that way. So like, right now, even though I still have like what feels like a fledgling business, right now I'm not going to let people waste my time. Okay. Because that's how I get to that point, is by acting as if right now. So that's something I've been trying to work on. Who is that, like potential customers who you feel like aren't giving you like the right amount of respect, or who do you feel like is? Yeah, it's like with the developer that I'm working with right now, like I sent them over mocks, and then I went through when the first thing they delivered was like not up to what I wanted. I went and made an hour-long video of like all of the updates that needed to be made. They still didn't quite deliver what I wanted. And then they were like, well, let's just get on a call and walk through all the things that you want. And at first I was like, okay. And then I was like, wait, no, I've already done this work. You can rewatch the video. Yeah. You can make the changes, and then we can talk. but
Yeah.
I'm not gonna book that time until you tell me that you have rewatched the video.
Yeah.
So it's not being like mean or strident or anything, but just making sure that other people are valuing your time in the way that you want to value your own time.
Nice. Awesome. I love
Yeah.
that. All right. Very
Yeah.
cool. All right. So this podcast is brought to us by a book club. So do you have a favorite business book you'd like to recommend?
I do. That's what's been spurring my like acting as if and really stepping into the business owner that I want to be. It's a book called We Should All Be Millionaires.
It's on my list. Nice.
Oh, it's so good, and it's so immediately good. That's what I really like about it. I feel like a lot of the books I read are like, okay, when I get to this point, I'll eventually use some of these things.
Mm-hmm.
But this one is immediately like actionable. I think there's so many barriers to success that have to do with mindset. And personally, as a woman of color, there are a lot of systemic reasons why it's going to be challenging for my business to succeed. So I can't afford to have mindset be one of them. And this book really addresses that in a way that, as I said, it's like immediately actionable and impactful. And I'm already starting to see the results of that. So
that's amazing.
I can't recommend it highly enough.
It's in 4 weeks. Maybe I need to move it up my list. I'm gonna
read it. Yeah, maybe.
Next week, I'm reading Year of Yes by Shonda Rhimes, which isn't a business book, but it was a good, like, okay, you got to own yourself. You got to say yes to things. You got to, step up. So I'm trying to get at least one of those a month in my system to keep me, motivated and inspired. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So, and our last thing, Climb really focuses on continual learning and then entrepreneur community. And so we're here today to talk about our co-sponsor, Renaissance Entrepreneurship Center. And please tell us a little bit about your experience with Renaissance.
Oh, yeah. At Renaissance, I took the 10-week business planning course, which was led by you. And it was really incredible. I actually have a background in the startup world. I've worked as a marketing leader for a number of years. So I felt like I had a lot of the pieces and I still couldn't quite figure out how to put them together. I really needed the structure that the class provided, as well as that line in the sand that was like, this is when your business plan is due.
Yeah.
I needed that because I was like, oh yeah, my mission, I'll make it. And then I'll tweak it a little bit. And then like 3 weeks have gone by and I don't have a mission statement. So it was really helpful for me, but I also felt like there was a range of like people literally starting from scratch and people who had more experience. So it was nice. It also was really nice to be in community with other people who were and other women who were starting businesses, because starting a business can feel so isolating.
Yeah, especially I think a lot of startups have those like incubator, accelerator experiences, but small businesses rarely get those opportunities. So that's one of those. I think one of the wonderful things about Renaissance's classes is you can build relationships with all other small business owners.
Exactly. And I'm still in touch with a lot of people from the class. So It's been really great in that way.
Oh, good. I'm so happy. All right. Well, Dara, thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
Thank you for having me.
It was a delight. And we look forward to sharing all the details about your amazing business with our community.
Thank you so much. I look forward to hearing back from the community.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
This podcast is brought to you by Climb the Small Business Book Club, where entrepreneurs go to learn, discuss, apply, and grow. If you enjoyed the episode, be sure to subscribe at Apple, Spotify, or Google Podcasts, or follow us on Instagram at Climb Book Club. And always remember, mistakes are inevitable, perfection's impossible. So let's embrace the mistake.